Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Schifferbooks.com is the website here on the side. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you're interested. Supportive Oracle Cards. You Are Clairvoyant Oracle Cards by Belinda Grace. Illustrations by Elaine Marzin. Alright. Yep. And the website is rockpoolpublishing.com.au is an apple, use an umbrella. I also use dice. I have a 22-sided dice. I substitute 22 for 0 for the Fool. And I use a 14-sided dice for the Minor Arcana, and I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element. This is where they came from. I want to say this is Math Art Fun, the dice shop, mathartfun.com. Hopefully you can read that if you want to read that. Alright. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. It's james4astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much, and let's get into your reading. Hello, Leo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Leo? Bam. Ooh, 4 of Wands. I like that for a start. Oh, and the 6 of Wands right after it. That's success. So, what is going on with this situation? Is it great? I think you know it's got its time limit. I think that's what it is. This situation seems to be on a timer. It's going well. Currently, the energy is going well. You've put a lot of work into this, whatever this is. You've put a lot of work into this. 2 of Swords, well, 2 of Swords, but half in, half out, and then the Tower card was stagnant. So, the Tower card has been waiting, or was supposed to happen. I get that this situation was going to crumble at one point. This is the past. And you blocked it from falling apart. You put a lot of work into this situation. It could be a relationship, could be a work situation, whatever, however it fits. You put a lot of work into keeping this situation from falling apart. It looked like it was going to fall apart. You worked overtime to fix it. You got a long-standing history and a lot of effort. Like, this is the type of effort, it's not about physically getting it done. It's about having the emotional resolve to not let it fail. And to putting effort where you needed to put it to make sure this situation would succeed. You put a lot of work into this. A lot. But the current energy, while it's very good, I think you're seeing something. I think you're seeing something for what it is. So whatever this was didn't fall apart in a horrible way. But I also feel like, even though right now the energy feels extremely successful, I feel bonded with it, I feel tight with it, I feel like it's very successful, I also seem to be very well aware of the truth of the situation. And I feel like I keep looking at this like I need to make a choice. Because that Tower moment, while it didn't happen there, it will return. And I think that's why I first started with that stagnant energy, because it was on the dice. It just didn't show up. I don't know if we see it on any of the cards showing up. I don't see it showing up in the actual tarot cards, but I do see other things showing up that talk about, well, the death card's showing up. So there's an ending coming. I feel like I have to make a choice, even though things are good. And you know what? You're enjoying it and you're happy for what it is, but I feel like, you know what? I feel like I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this anymore. And I feel like I'm looking at my surroundings and I'm like, I did this for a while, but maybe the reason I saved it before isn't as strong now. Not as strong. And I'm happy I did what I did, and I'm happy to be where I am. But maybe this isn't where I want to be. And I feel like I'm trying to be very careful. I feel like you're putting a lot of thought into this. These two cards together, this is a card of physical action, usually. Like, a lot of passion, a lot of moving forward, like, let's get it done, let's put it here, let's put it there. Automatic writing is also a lot of thought, which does match in. But it's kind of like, I have to, like, do something to keep me going, but let me think. Like, it's almost like I have to go for a walk. Maybe I have to go for a long walk in a place that I like, so I can get my brain going, so I can, like, really... Or it's something where I have to get my brain going so I can really think out where I want this to be. I feel like this happens for me, so I don't know about other people, but, like, sometimes when I'm washing dishes or something, or doing stuff like that, it's like, I know my hands know what I need to be doing, and I just keep doing it. Meanwhile, my brain can sort out other things. Something like that. I feel like I need to be actively doing something that's, like, doesn't take a lot of brain power. That way my brain can sort out this other situation, because I have to make up my mind what I want to do. You could be literally writing down your thoughts. Some of you literally could be writing down your thoughts so you can read them back to yourself and be like, now that I read that back, I didn't realize that that's how I actually felt, but that is actually how I feel. I don't know. Maybe that's something, maybe not everybody does that, but sometimes, at least it happens for me, I write it down and I look back and I'm like, oh, I did use that word. You know what? And that is how I feel. Or sometimes you speak it out loud, it comes out of your mouth and you're just like, oh. And you're like, well, that's closer to how I actually feel. So it's like, oh, okay. One of those things. You're at the point where you need to make a decision. This is not an easy decision for you, because, again, I see that death card coming up. Whatever this decision is, it doesn't feel like I can turn around and remake it later. I do feel like this is kind of like, if you're baking a cake, this is like, I have the egg, it's intact, so I can either boil it and make it into egg salad sandwich, or I can crack it and put it into this, or fry it. I think that's a better way to do it. I can either crack it and fry it, or I can boil it and use it as a hard-boiled egg. But, like, when I make my choice, like, once I crack the egg, it's going to be a scrambled egg. That's just what it's going to be, or a fried egg, whatever. But if I boil it, once it's boiled, I can't go backwards and decide, well, actually, I'd like it to be fried now. It's a little too late. So it's kind of like, this is how this feels to me. Will it still be an egg? Yeah. Will I be able to go backwards? No, I can get another egg, but it's going to be a whole nother egg. I'm pushing forward. Talk to the people you trust. Especially if you have somebody that you can freely talk to and you know that they'll keep it to themselves, and they can really help you work out how you're actually feeling about a situation. Because I feel like this for Leo anyway, when you really get amped up and you really talk it out and you let your words fly out of your mouth, you'll hear what you're thinking and you'll be like, yeah, that's how I feel. I keep getting that. Like, I think this happens to everybody, but it seems like it happens more likely to Leo more often, where it's like it comes out of your mouth and you're just like, yeah, you know what, that is how I feel. Yeah, you know what, it really is. So if you have somebody in your life where you feel you can trust them, I would recommend doing that. Now, will everybody like your choice? I don't think so. In fact, like, I'm getting, like, the choice that's going to serve you more is going to be the choice where people really don't like you. The choice that people really don't like you is going to give you the most freedom, and whether people like it or not, it might be the best for the situation. I'm trying to keep the glare from, I don't know where that glare is coming from, but it's there. The unpopular choice is the better choice for you. What they're saying don't do is don't put yourself in this era of limbo. Especially after you vent out your energy and you really come to your conclusion, you're going to know what you want to do. Some of you are going to try to fight it. But this is going to be one of those times where it's harder than the last time. It's harder than the last time is what I keep getting. So this situation is different than it used to be. I just feel like this is going to, if you try to fight it kind of like, well, I don't want everybody to hate me, so I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to make that choice. It seems to just linger, and I don't know, well, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Some of you might be one of those people that you know what you want to do, but you're telling yourself you can't do it, and then ironically you self-sabotage yourself and it happens anyway, if that makes sense. For the people that hits with, you're going to know what I'm talking about. That self-sabotage thing, when you know what you want to do, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't want to fix this kitchen. I want to sell this kitchen. So you're like, no, everybody else wants us to keep it. They want us to keep this house, so I'm going to try to fix it. But then you fix it, and then it goes to crap. It's kind of like, and it's kind of like, I've done this before, it should work, but for some reason you kind of self-sabotage yourself without trying to, because you don't really want it. You'd rather get rid of it. So I'm just saying, it's not going to hit for everybody, I know that. But I feel like a few of you are going to be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, whatever. I feel like you're like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, leave me alone. The situation, I feel like you can drag it out. You could probably keep it for a few years if you really want to. But it's meant to end, is what I'm getting. The situation, because once you come to the truth about what you really want, I feel like this situation's going to end. It's all about accepting it and coming to your truth with what you really want. This is about you. No matter if other people want to believe it's about them, it's literally about you. And once you accept what you really want to do, come to terms with that, the situation, that whatever you're dealing with, it's probably like it's time to let it go. I keep getting this analogy. For some reason, I keep walking away from it, but I'll go for it. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody and you have children or something like that. And maybe this almost fell apart one other time, but it was kind of like, I didn't want this for my family. I decided for my family it was better if we did not break up. So I bent over backwards and I made sure everything I could do, I did to make sure it would work and we would stick together and we would all keep that thing. But now the children are older, and it's kind of like, you know what? Now that they're older and I really don't want this anymore, the only reason I'm here is for their benefit, but they're older and their lives are going to change anyway, I think it's time to let it go. It could be one of those things. And some of you might be like, well, the first time this happened, they were about 9-10 years old, and maybe now they're 16 or 17. And you're like, no, I don't feel like it's the right time. Maybe I'll give it another 10 years. That is completely that's your thing. If that's what you want, if that's what you've decided is for the best, then you do what you got to do. This reading is just meant to say it is coming to an end at some point, and accepting it and accepting what you really want is the first part to healing it. Whatever the situation is, by the way, that you need to end, I don't see it fighting you. I see a lackluster response to it, and it just kind of like, all right, if that's what you want, and then just ignoring you afterwards. So once you make your decision, I don't see anybody trying to force you to keep something or even trying to. I feel like they're more like, all right, that's what you want, and then they just ignore you. So if you needed something from this other person, if there's another person involved, if there is in your situation, remember it's a general read, get what you need out of them before you tell them what you need to tell them, because once you tell them, they're not going to be very helpful for you at all. Get what you need beforehand as much as you can, and then give your information, because once you tell them, they're just going to ignore you as much as they possibly can get away with. This seems to be like another version of this situation. So if you decide that you don't want to do this, you don't want to end this, this is like, well, yeah, I bent over backwards to fix it before and it worked. I don't really know if I really want to keep it now, but I feel like it's for the best to keep it anyway. And you're deciding that. The situation is going to feel very stagnant and very labored. This card is Kuan Yin. That's kind of like it's kind of like a goddess card. Well, I think she is a goddess. I'm not sure though. I think so. It's kind of like an empress card. It's kind of like a high priestess card energy, kind of like looking out for yourself as well as those around you. If you believe this is what's right, just make sure you look out for yourself as well as everybody else. If you want to do this, the situation will feel stagnant and you're going to feel very labored with it. But as long as you build into the situation a lot of things that are to your benefit, and you remember that this does have a shelf life, I feel like for some of you, you could probably keep this for another 10 years if you really decide that's what must happen. If you're deciding that's what must happen, then that's what will happen. Just make sure through those 10 years you set the whole situation up to go your way when you finally decide to let it go. That's all they're saying. So like it's very alternate ending here. It's kind of like you can accept it and let it go and things will get better for you, or if you decide you have to hold on to it, that's fine. Just make sure over the time period you're deciding it has to stay, realize it will end sooner or later, and just make sure as you keep moving forward, keep angling it to your benefit and keep that in the back of your head. One day this will end. When it does end, I want to make sure this goes to my benefit. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.